Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Wayman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, would you master?
Hello, I'm
Tony.
Video Master. I'm recording you. If you don't want to be recorded, please let me know. And whatever you have said and you are recorded, you will see it on the YouTube channel of the Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. And now I'd like to move on to our prepared speeches section. We have 3 speakers today. Are you speaking today? Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Our 3 speakers today. In our first speaker of the day is Starlet. Starlet is a new member. She's already brought a lot of new energy to our club, and so Starlet. Thank you, Starlet.
So hello everyone, I'm Starlet, and I'm going to take some feedback from my last speech from Wyoming, which was the icebreaker. I was supposed to talk about myself and I did not. So I'm going to use, that was the feedback he gave me. So I'm going to use this opportunity to give you guys some more information about myself so you can get to know me a little bit better. So my name is Starlet. I live in San Jose. I was born in Modesto and raised there. I went to college at UC Irvine, graduated in 2006, went to graduate school in Turlock at Cal State Stanislaus, got my master's degree in criminal justice. I worked with youth, children with disabilities for 4.5 years, disabilities and severe behaviors who also had issues in the criminal justice system. That was a very interesting career. It was challenging, to say the least. I met my husband in middle school. We've been married for 5 years, going on 6, and we've known each other for 22 years. I love to cook, and I currently work at Bloom Energy, which is a fuel cell technology company, as a program manager. Now all the boring stuff out of the way. I started a Instagram page to give people words of encouragement. I also speak on that page, which I encourage you guys outside of this. If you want to work on your public speaking, that is also a good avenue because people give you feedback. They give me feedback on that as well. And it's also a much broader audience, but it's also a little bit, it can be a little bit more private because you're not speaking in front of people like this in person. However, you can get feedback and help you become more comfortable speaking. My parents, my dad lives in Georgia. My mom is deceased. She died in 2010, 10 years ago, in 2 weeks actually. I have 2 sisters. I have 10 nieces and nephews. I have no children. I I was on a game show. I won my honeymoon on Let's Make a Deal dressed up as a chicken suit. I did meet Wayne Brady. I have the video footage. I will send it out to you guys because it is on YouTube. I went a trip to Panama. We went to Panama. It was an 8-day all expense paid vacation on a tour of the entire country. We stayed in the city, in the rainforest, and also we stayed in the city, the rainforest, and on the beach. It was an amazing vacation. I loved it. If you guys ever want to go on Let's Make a Deal, the tickets are free. I can send you the link to that too. In August, I went on The Price is Right. I did not win, unfortunately. I guess my luck ran out there. I used to work in the entertainment industry for 6 years. I've met a lot of famous people. I've been to the Grammys. I've been to a lot of award shows. That's another side of my life a lot of people don't know about that I kind of keep to the side. My dad works in the entertainment industry as well. He's actually, it's funny because when people ask me what he does, he's a driver, so they assume he's a truck driver. No, when big artists go on tour, he's their driver. So he's done that for 13 years, and he's been with some really famous people. He does it in the United States and Canada. What else about myself? One of the things I've learned through all of my life experiences is that life never turns out how you expect it to be. I wanted to be a doctor. That didn't work out. Then I tried criminal justice. Then I worked in the entertainment industry. Now I work in fuel cell technology. So I'm just like a jack of all trades. I've learned through all of my experiences, though, that you take from each part of those experiences, you carry it into the next to define exactly and determine exactly what you want to do. Because what you think you want to do and what your passion is can be two different things, and you can discover that along the way. A lot of the times when we're kids, we say, I want to do this or I want to be that. But then what I realized is I don't even know myself enough as a child to clearly understand as an adult what I really want to do. So I've learned that along the 35 years of life that I have. Let's see, what else? I think that was about me. I think that's it. I told you guys all the interesting things. Born and raised, yes. I do travel. I haven't traveled a lot because me and my husband are trying to get out of debt. And so we're almost done. And then this year we plan to start our family. Hopefully. Hopefully. And I think that is it. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Charlotte. That was amazing. And if you take a few minutes to write some evaluate notes for Starlet. Our next speaker of the day is Wai Ming. Wai Ming has been a longtime member of, I was surprised to learn last week that he's been doing Toastmasters for nearly 10 years. Is that right?
More than 10 years.
More than 10 years. I was like, wow, that is a very committed Toastmaster. But Wai Ming has talked about a lot of interesting topics over the years that I've been a member of Toastmasters. Today he's going to talk about the robot business.
Thank you.
Mr. Wai Ming Ma.
There's a quirkiness to the screen, so bear with it. I'm going to talk about one story about robot business. So why is robot interesting? Robot business is interesting today because the technology is almost there. The know-how, the software is generally available. A lot of the information is open source. The technology to actually deliver it, whether it is the mechanical, the actuators, the sensors, the computing capabilities, they're all there because of the advance of the iPhone and the Android phone. So all those capabilities are there, and almost anyone can build a robot, and almost anyone can then turn that robot into a business. Sounds easy, yeah? So there are all types of products out there, or attempts at products. There are some that didn't work out. These things didn't work out, that one worked out, and so on. So, and in fact, these are small ones. So they're tiny ones. You have robots that runs on the floor to clean up your floor, things that push you around, but they're getting bigger. Tesla is a big robot that drives you around. In fact, there are 8 companies that are working with Uber to build these flying things that carries, essentially a flying taxi to carry people around, and supposedly coming 2021, so we'll see. And then these rocket ships are essentially robots. So all the technology is there for anyone to build it, and for almost anyone to turn that into a business. But how does that work? And I'll talk briefly about that, but then I want to tell a story on that. So a robot has a number of elements to actually make it work. Yeah, you need mechanical stuff, you need things to turn, to move, you need the electronic, the software, the sensors and the control. You need to design it so that people can like that product. And then you have to deal, because it actually moves around, it has to interact with people, because the people are going to buy it. And then it has to be reliable. If you have a drone that flies 100 feet high up and it fails and falls on you, it's going to really hurt you. So it has to be reliable and has to definitely have quality. So there are many elements to actually making the product itself, and you will have to make it work. Once you have the product, then you still need to work on the business side, because you're dealing with physical good. The physical good, you have to have people asking for it. It costs money to make that physical good, and then you have to know how to actually build it and deliver it on time. And in order to do all that, you need a lot of money, because a drone costing a person, a consumer around $1,500 in price, will cost maybe at least $700 in material cost, or maybe $500 material cost. If you build 1,000 of those, that's a lot of money that you have to spend. And then, of course, in order to get the money, you need investors. Unless you have a lot of $1 billion, maybe some of you have $1 billion. If not, then you need people to give you money so that you can actually build all that. And of course, it cannot be done with a single person. This effort, because of the complexity of the product and the way you have to deal with who wants it, what kind of product to build, is a multi-person thing. And that organization has to work together and be able to deliver the product. Not an easy proposition, but anyone can do it. So I'm going to talk one example, one story about a drone company and its failure. And maybe we can learn something from it. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the next few minutes. Drones are used today, and drones I'm talking about not big drones that goes around shooting missiles at people like the one that killed the Iranian general. I'm talking about these drones that flies around with a camera on it that can do a lot of things. Because it has a camera, people make movies with it. You can take lots of great photos with it. Aerial photos of cities, of faraway mountains, all types of places. You can look at construction, see site progress. You can actually look at agriculture or your plant area, enormous field where the problems are and where you can actually need more water. Security surveillance is a big deal, and people are beginning to actually race these things. You can actually have multiple drones going around in a circuit and racing. So lots of great uses. The key thing to these types of drones, which are around this size, is the camera. So this is a story, very quick story, about a company named 3D Robotics. Started by a guy, a very good guy, very technically good guy, very famous guy, Chris Anderson. There are many Chris Anderson, but this particular Chris Anderson lives in Berkeley. He started this site called DIY Drones in 2007. And at that time, no one knew about drones, but he used that website to collect all the information to help people build their own drones. And then he partnered with someone else who actually developed this software called AudioPilot. Together, they formed this company, 3D Robotics, in 2009. And then they got $100 million in funding to build a drone. And they released a drone in 2015 called the Solo that, unfortunately, because of the reliability issue and various things, didn't work out. And then just a few months later, they had to essentially tell the world they cannot ship a drone. And in fact, they were focused on software. That's what happened to the company 3D Robotics. And essentially, there are three issues that other people, observer, have seen. One of them is they started with a fairly inexperienced engineering team. They have very good engineers, but at the same time, they hired a team that were doing games, to try to build a robot. So you can do it, it just will take a lot longer to be able to do that. So they missed the delivery day. They had buggy components, like the GPS doesn't work, so you know where your drone is. And then the camera didn't work initially, so it cost another $1,700 to add a camera onto the drone. At the same time, they thought this is a great drone, so they're gonna sell 100,000 units of those. They only sold 22, so they spent a lot of money, and all the money went away. You have all these extra money that cannot generate revenue back. And they face really stiff competition. Of course, stiff competition came from this company, DJI. And, give me 2 minutes. DJI, and they just started 2 years earlier than 3D Robotics. But they were slightly earlier, and they executed better. So in the end, DJI won out. And in fact, they have a lot more products now. And it's a lot bigger company than 3D Robotics. DJI is around 2.3, 2.55, and $3 billion company today. We'll talk about that some other time. But in the end, the lesson is to build robots, you have to be able to do all these things. And to run the business around that, you have to do all that. Anyone can do it. It does take a lot of time and the right team to build these types of products. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Remy. Let's take a minute to write a small, quick evaluation for Wei Ming. Okay. So our third speaker of the day is Arsh. Arsh is going to tell us a little bit about meditation. Arsh.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So I wanted to start with a couple of questions. How many of you guys have meditated before? Do it on a daily basis or consistent basis? Okay, do you guys want to take a shot at what you would say meditation is, in your opinion?
Just allowing your brain to relax, and then let the air observe in your body system.
Okay. Anyone else want to take a shot at what you feel like it is, or what you've experienced through meditation?
Just a reset, in the day, and slow down and, get away from the fast pace of things and start when you start again the way that you would like to start your day, not
Right.
just, follow along with whatever's going on.
So there are different types of meditation, and I wanted to personally share my experience of a meditation retreat I just did about 2 weeks ago. It was 10 days of complete silence with 250 other people, and it's called Vipassana meditation. It's a very popular technique, started in India, and they say that it was taught by Buddha himself about 2,500 years ago. And this is one technique. I know there's different types of meditation out there, and I wanted to share my experience. So it's called a retreat, but in no way did it feel like a retreat at all. It was pretty torturous, to say the least, because you can't read, you can't write, no journaling, no exercising. All you're doing for those 10 days is in silence, meditating, sitting down for about 10 plus hours a day, amongst 250 people that you can't even speak a word to. And that's all you do. You can't work out. Why did I decide to do this? Because when I first told my family or my friends I was going to do this, first reaction was, are you crazy? Like, that's just insane. Why would you want to do that to yourself? Because you don't have your phone either. You turn that in, and then you get that day 10. So you turn it in during day 0. And also I did this during the holidays. So missed New Year's, missed Christmas, missed all the holidays. And that's another reason people just thought I was completely out of my mind to want to do this for that long. But I felt like I was ready for it. I have been meditating for maybe the last 5 years, on and off, not consistently. And I wanted to kind of challenge myself a little bit more and see what this was about, because I read a couple of blog posts prior to attending, and all positive feedback. And I actually heard about this in September, I'd say, when we had a team retreat, and one of our VPs had a friend over that was leading us through a meditation session. And I've always wanted to go on a retreat, but just hadn't looked into which one, what meditation, how long, any of that stuff. I just knew it was something I wanted to do in the near future. And so after our session that she led us through at that retreat, she mentioned that she did this meditation retreat called Vipassana. And she's done retreats all over the world, but this is the one that helped her the most. And it was 10 days of silence. I'm like, that just sounds crazy, but I want to do it. And she had good things to say about it. So that was word of mouth. For me, that was it. I was like, okay, she said it was good. I'm going to just look it up and sign up for it. I knew nothing about it. I had no idea what Vipassana meditation was, what it stands for, what this technique is. I went online, found out that there was a wait list for the one coming up in November, and that was during Thanksgiving time. And then I saw there was another one that was nearby that was in December during the holidays, and it's just easier to get that time off from work, because you already have the holidays that you have off, and you could just add on a couple more days, so you're not taking 10 full days. That's why this retreat is the largest one outside of India, because a lot of people do it during the holidays just because they have the time off. And I put myself on the wait list for that. I was excited. I was like, okay, I kind of want to do this, but if I don't get it, that's okay too, because it's during the holidays, and the alternative is to spend time with my family, and that's totally fine. And not that it's a bad thing, but I was okay with that. And then I got an email about 2 weeks before, I'd say, that I had gotten the slot to get in. I was super excited. Although I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but it was just really exciting to kind of put myself through this experience and learn from it. And then I didn't really prepare for it much. I didn't necessarily want to, because one thing you don't want to do is set expectations for yourself, because then while you're going through that experience, you feel like you're going to have that same experience as somebody else. So I had to keep it to a minimum as possible. I did kind of look at a couple of blog posts to see how to prepare and all of that. So I'll kind of go over the schedule and what this looks like. So you arrive at day 0, and this is where you're able to talk. It's kind of around dinner time. So you have dinner, there's people around, you can kind of get to know them, talk to them, learn their experience, and for whatever reason, I was sitting amongst 4 people that had done this before. So everyone that I was talking to, they're like, yeah, this is my 3rd time, yeah, this is my 4th time, this is my 6th time. I'm like, what? That's crazy, this is my 1st time, I'm so scared. But that also kind of excited me a little bit, because people were coming back to do this. So I was like, okay, I'm really excited to see what this is about now. And then you kind of get to mingle with them. There's an orientation that happens. You can ask the questions that you have. They go over the rules. And then you go into your first meditation starting at day 0. And that's when the silence starts at around like 6 p.m. And so the day after that, starting day 1, starts at 4 a.m. There's a gong that goes around. And you wake up. You have to be either at the meditation hall, or you can meditate in your room from 4:30 to 6:30. There are a couple of breaks in between where you can take a shower, eat, lunch break, breakfast break, and no dinner break. You have a tea break, so there's no dinner. And it's all vegetarian food, so you can't eat meat during those days either. The goal is to live like a monk or like a nun for those 10 days. And there's 3 sessions in the day where you have to be in the meditation hall with everybody, and those are 1 hour each. And the other times that you're meditating, maybe the other like 10 hours, 8 hours, you can do it either in your room or at the hall. They recommend that you don't meditate outside. So days 1 through 3, you just are focusing on your breath, so this area right here. And it's not too intense, because you can move when you need to. You can change your posture. You can